It's very cold out today and windy. I hope the wind doesn't screw up the video too much. First thing you gotta do is a little geometry. Most people that are going to be making mud flaps are going to be making them because they're either changing a tire, rim, or putting spacers in. Whenever you do that, you're either pushing the tire out to a certain point where when you're driving, you're sandblasting the side of your car with debris, rocks, stones, all that kind of stuff. So you basically want to stop that. Normally, the tire sits within the wheel well and all that stuff gets kept inside there and falls down. You don't have much of a problem with it. But I'm going to be putting 15 millimeter spacers on my rims. It's going to push the tires out a little bit, give it an aggressive stance, make it look a little better. Well, when that's said, the tire is going to come out past this point. So there's two things you got to do. One, find out at what point is the most likely that your debris is going to come up, which is a little bit above center. So if your center line's right here, maybe go an inch above that. This is the rule of thumb. This is the way debris will fall off. The second thing you got to do is the amount that you want your mud flap to come out, which in my case is 15 millimeters. But I'm going to make it to where basically the tire is going to be even with the car. To do that, basically going to get on a level surface, put it out here. I'm going to measure this distance to here. That way the tire, because the tire, I'm keeping the tire under the top part of the wheel well, it's just going to stick out the bottom right here. I don't know if you can see that. I'll try to get a better view of it. But you got to be out, I don't know, it's roughly 2 inches. I'm going to measure it. And I'll get an idea of how tall, which I'm going to be bringing it out to that 1 inch above mid-volley point, which is going to be right around here. Right about there. I'm going to bring it all the way up. My mud flap is going to come, depending on how you mount it, to, I got 3 rivets here. I'm going to take up to the 3rd rivet so it's nice and snug on there. So I'm going to go up to about right here for height, although you won't see it. It's going to start coming out right around that 1 inch to center line point. Right about here is when it's going to come out, then go straight down and protect the side of the car. Okay, there's a couple ways you can do this. I was just going to take the template because I have a 3D printer, scan it into a computer, cut it and design it on the computer, and then just 3D print it out of an ABS plastic or like a rubberized plastic. And I was like, most people don't have a 3D printer, so I'm just going to go with it. So I went on Amazon and just bought some ABS plastic. It's about, I don't know, 1/16 of an inch thick. It's textured on one side, smooth on the other. They're 12 by 12 blocks. And I figure I am just going to do it the old-fashioned way and cut them out. So let's do it that way. Okay, now I'm just going to clean up the template, round off some of these edges. Just took a little circle gauge here. I'm going to take a little straight edge. I know my rivets roughly in the center here. So just want it, just going to eyeball this where I keep trying it, see how it works out. I'm going to leave enough meat on there for that rivet to... So we have something that looks similar to that. I'm just going to cut that. Clean this edge up. This don't matter. Well, let's do that. You know what? Maybe I will round that edge. No. I was going to round it, but I'm going to be more supportive this way. The way it hides in the car. So, now we'll try this, see how it looks, and we'll also mark where the rivets are going to go. There you go. Now I decided not to put the holes in there because I want to see the placement and how aggressive I want the mud flap to go in or out. So that's what the template looks like traced out on the plastic. Now keep in mind, I want the textured side to be facing outward. So what I'm going to do is put two pieces together, but they're opposite. Both textured sides are together, so that when I put them on the car, one side will be left and one side will be right, and both textured sides can still be out. If you cut them like this, whereas both smooth sides, you'd have to have a smooth side when you go to flip it on the other side to be on the left or right side. It would be obviously, you'd have one smooth side facing out, one textured side. Just something to pay attention to. I just cut it out using my scroll saw. And what I noticed is it's actually melting it as it's cutting it, so they kind of stick together. So just be careful, you just pop it apart. Now I'm going to take a sander and just smooth all these edges out. This is what it looks like when it's done. Now, in hindsight, I used a very fine for cutting metal scroll saw blade, but I shouldn't have done that. I should have used a medium one, and I have used a medium one. It cuts a lot cleaner. What happens with the fine metal one is it melts it as it cuts because it's so fine. It's doing a lot of friction. So, just for you to note, if you're going to cut it, use a medium blade, not a super fine one. Okay, I'm just judging to see how aggressive I want the mud flaps to go, to be further in or come further out. I realized really quick that I did not, after I started using them, the original clips, that I didn't like the way they went in there. I just don't think that they were stable enough. So I decided to use some stainless self-drilling, self-tapping screws, which you'll see me put in there later. It just seems a lot more stable. I won't have to worry about it, and I can remove them a lot easier if I need to later. When I go to remove them, you'll see in a little bit, you just take a little screwdriver or pin tool or something, you pop out the centers, hammer them in, then you just pry them out or use a trim tool to pop them out. It's quite simple. see, I chose to go with self-drilling, self-tapping screws. I drew one up and I installed the existing clips, reused them using finish nails. Now you can even buy new hardware. I just didn't like how weak it was. It just didn't seem secure to me. So I went with self-drilling, self-tapping screws, measured it out, gave my 1.5 inches, 3/4 of an inch from the bottom. Like I said, anybody's car is going to be different, but this is what it turned out to look like when all said and done. Turned out pretty good. I'm happy with it, and we'll see how effective they are.